Welcome back to another episode of The Whiskey Layman. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Jameson Caskmates Stout Edition, but we're also going to do a little bit of an experiment today, Mac.
Are we scientists?
No, far from it.
Okay.
But we are going to see if whiskeys finished in casks that held different types of alcohol have any tastes that we can pull out from that other type of alcohol.
Okay.
But first, let's talk about Jameson's Caskmates Stout Edition. Irish whiskey.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. We love Jameson. We already did a video on it. We'll link it up here. This is ostensibly the same whiskey, but aged in barrels that held stout beer.
Right.
And that's a very common practice we've learned in a lot of whiskey making, especially scotches. They love to, distilleries that is, love to age their whiskey in casks that held other types of alcohol, whether it's bourbon is the most common one in Scotland. Most scotches, I think it's fair to say, are aged in ex-bourbon casks. So American distilleries will age their whiskey in a barrel. Once that whiskey's done aging, they can't reuse them. So Scotland distilleries buy up all those barrels, put their scotch into those barrels that used to hold bourbon, and then age their scotches in it. But we've also learned sherry casks is a very common one. Rum casks are pretty common. They often refer to them as Caribbean cask editions. Port and other types of fortified wine, cognac, and even brandy, I think, is another one. But this, stout beer.
Right.
The specific brewery that Jameson uses or gets their stout beer barrels from is called 8D. So,
8D Brewing. Yeah.
8D Brewing. It's actually a bit of a misconception that it's Guinness, because Guinness is the Irish stout beer you think of when you think of Irish stout beer.
And maybe their notoriety makes their barrels more pricey, and if you're mass producing a product, you want to pay about $1.
That would be my guess, yeah.
So what are we hoping to get from this?
Stout beer tends to be pretty rich and chocolatey.
Okay.
And again, we'll do an experiment here in a minute. Kind of nutty, maybe. A lot of rounder, richer flavors. So if anything, I think the intent of this partnership was to create a richer, darker, and I don't mean darker necessarily color, but flavor.
Okay.
Chocolatey or nutty or Jameson.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. It's
still got that sugar cookie, but a little bit of maybe a chocolatey aftertaste, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's very sweet.
It is very sweet. It has very little burn.
Very little, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
The taste is kind of fleeting for me, though.
Sure.
Right, we recently did a video on Redbreast 15, which was one of the longest flavor palettes I think we've ever experienced. So in comparison to that...
Very short.
Very short. I think it sticks around longer than Jameson, just the original Jameson, though.
It's a very nice drink, though.
It's good. There's nothing bad to say about this, other than maybe just I want it to last a little longer.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's sweet. It's kind of rich. It's good.
So, are we going to get these same flavors from a stout beer?
Let's find out. So we have Guinness. As I said, Guinness is not the beer that Jameson uses for their casks for this Caskmates Stout Edition. It's 8D, but I don't know where to find 8D Brewing in the US. Guinness, extremely common in America. So here we have Guinness.
And it's going to be a good representation of a stout.
Guinness, I think, is a very good representation of what stout beer tastes like. Now, as soon as I open this and start pouring it, anyone who watches this is probably going to come for us in the comments, because...
Well, they see the glasses we're pouring this into, right?
The wrong glasses for, not only for Guinness, but for beer in general, right? These are rocks glasses. And there's a very specific way to pour Guinness, and you're supposed to have it in a specific Guinness glass that is supposed to enhance the nitrogen in the beer that's supposed to create like the right amount of head. We're going to do this all wrong. I'm acknowledging that ahead of time. Please feel free to still tell us how wrong we are, but just know that I'm intentionally doing
this is not our go-to beverage.
No.
No.
I do like a good Guinness, though.
Okay. I don't think I've ever had one. Now, am I supposed to smell this the same way I smell a whiskey?
Yeah, you can smell beer. I think beer in general doesn't have the same pungent aromas that whiskey does because it's such a lower alcohol content.
Okay.
But
I'm not smelling any of the whiskey in here.
well, that makes sense because there isn't any whiskey in here. But the trick is
This
to see.
channel is called The Whiskey Layman.
The trick is to see if you can smell any of this beer in the whiskey and/or taste any of this beer. Well, not this specific beer, but this type of beer. Hold on. That's a very Kyle thing to do, by the way. So Guinness.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think of Guinness? You've never had Guinness. I want to hear what your thoughts are on Guinness.
It's very not. It's not beer-like compared to what I would expect a normal beer. It's creamy, a little chocolatey, I guess.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah, if you're comparing this to like an ale or a Pilsner or a lager, very common beers in America, you're going to be very surprised by this because Guinness, as a stout beer, is nothing like those.
It doesn't have a lot of the carbonation feel of a lot of beer that I normally indulge.
It's incredibly creamy.
It is very, very creamy. One thing I can get between these two is a tiny bit of like chocolatey override. And I don't know if I'm supposed to get chocolate in either of these, but I feel like I do.
No, chocolate is a very common flavor associated with stout beer. Interesting, actually, drinking the Jameson right after the Guinness made the Jameson taste very
Sweeter.
different. Yes, it did. That's fascinating.
I would like the stout to be a bit more carbonated, heavy. Like I feel like there's no real tingle to it.
That's fair. I think it's because of the way the beer is, the way it has the can itself has like a nitrogen pack in it. If you can't really hear it. Once it's empty, you can hear it. There's actually like a little thing inside it that breaks when you open it that releases nitrogen into the beer.
Okay. I'm learning a lot more in this video than I was anticipating. Very fascinating though.
There's actually instructions on the can on how to open and pour this beer as well.
Shut up.
Upon opening, the famous round plastic widget in every can unleashes nitrogen through the beer, creating the creamy head and iconic surge that's distinctively Guinness. To best enjoy, open the can and wait a moment for the nitrogen to release. Pour into a glass tilted at 45 degrees, watch the surge and settle, then enjoy.
Didn't know any of this. Okay. Very cool. Back to where we started. Before you move on to the next glasses here, because we do want to make a comparison, I believe. Besides the little bit of chocolate that I pointed out, is there anything else that you believe a stout has imparted on this whiskey?
The chocolatiness and I think the richness of the texture a little bit. Yeah, obviously, again, it's not a foamy whiskey like the stout beer is, but I think it gives it just a little bit heavier mouthfeel.
Okay.
And I'm speculating that comes from the stout cask.
Seems reasonable to somebody who doesn't know the answer.
Now the question is, how does Jameson just original hold up to the Jameson stout cask? And do we notice the lack of the stout notes when we just have the regular Jameson versus the stout cask now that we've actually had a stout beer to compare it to? Oh, I need actually a little more Caskmates in my glass because someone drank all my whiskey.
I hate when that happens. It's the Angel's share. I don't know if you've heard about this before. We've become an expert on this. It just evaporates into the air because the Angels up there, they like whiskey, they like Irish whiskeys, they like scotches, they like bourbons. And the longer you leave your beverage unattended, the more chance they have to assess it and then consume it all.
That's beautiful.
Now, Jameson Stout.
They do smell different.
Yeah. But what? It smell a little more vanilla-y in the stout? Maybe?
The Jameson, for me, the regular Jameson just smells more alcohol. Like not like it has a higher alcohol content, but like the predominant note I'm just getting is just ethanol.
Huh.
I get so much more depth from the stout.
You know, I think I agree.
Way longer flavor for me on the stout.
Sure.
The Jameson's just like a spike of sweetness, shortbread, whatever you want to call it, like that stereotypical Irish whiskey, but it's so sudden and then it just fades away.
Sure.
The stout lingers a little bit more. It has kind of trails off pleasantly.
Yeah. All right.
Ratings.
Ratings on the stout.
Ratings on the stout, yes, but I want to rate all three of these. But let's go ratings on the stout first.
But Scout. Yeah. Stout.
The Scout.
Cask. Yes, I would give that whatever I gave Jameson +1.
You really make this hard for me to edit.
It's okay, we're going to be doing the Jameson in a minute, aren't we?
Yeah, but this is going to be different than the last time you rated it.
Oh.
You're just going to say whatever I rated it last time, aren't you? I'm going to give the Jameson Caskmates Stout Edition a 7. And that's not to say I don't like it. I really like it. I just think there's a lot of whiskeys I've had that had a lot more interesting things going on than this.
Okay.
There's nothing bad about this. I like it way more than regular Jameson.
Okay.
But it's not interesting enough to me to give it a higher rating. It's good though. There are no complaints I have about it other than I just wish it did more.
Okay. All right.
Revisiting
Revisiting.
regular Jameson. We rated this once before.
Early on, right?
Yeah, very early on. We'll link the video up there. It's a terrible video because
Early on was real bad.
you think our videos are bad now. Don't go back, especially our Johnny Walker Red Label, don't go back and watch it, unless you have like a half hour to spare because we didn't even know how to edit videos then. What would you go back to? Revisiting Jameson.
Okay.
What are you rating it?
So, recalling briefly that I probably rated it pretty high before, because I like Jameson quite a bit. However, in the recent events of our lives here,
You've tried so many more Irish whiskeys.
and Redbreast is just really good. So, 6.75,
6.7.
which means this is a 7.75, just for your mathematical
I understand
operations.
now. Okay, I don't have to go back and reference the original video. So, 6.75. No, 7.75, 6.75.
Yes, thank you.
Numbers are hard. I'm not a math guy. All right. Lastly, what are you gonna rate? No.
I want to know what you rate this.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm giving standard, run-of-the-mill, regular Jameson a 5.5.
5.5.
Yep.
And you gave this one a 7?
Yes.
Okay.
5 is my baseline of I neither like it nor dislike it.
And you'll probably get it if you're out.
Yes. So this is a 5.5.
That makes sense.
It's above the threshold. What do you rate Guinness? This is your first ever beer rating, numerically speaking.
You were also doing this, right?
I'm doing it too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, getting another sip in, that's important.
Yes. Okay. I will give this. 2.5 beer kegs out of 5.
As is tradition, you've created your own scale again.
Listen, if you're gonna make me do something that I wasn't expecting, I'm going to make you do more editing.
2.5 beer kegs out of 5, which I will edit into the video, equates the same thing as a 5 out of 10 to me. So
It does not.
it does.
Math does not add up. He's already said earlier he's not a mathematician.
That's true. I am giving Guinness a 6.5 out of 10. There's a lot of beers I like better than Guinness, but every once in a while, I just crave a Guinness. It's so rich and frothy and chocolatey, and
It's a milkshake.
it's a beer shake.
It's a beer shake.
It is. And on that note, I think we can wrap this video up and definitively tell you that Jameson Caskmates is good.
It is. It's good.
It's good, and you can taste some vague similarities to stout beer.
Yes, I agree. I would still go with the whiskey though.